Welcome to this explainer. Let's just dive right in today because we are unpacking a concept that kind of completely flips how we think about work, life, and the future. We're looking at a really fascinating approach from our source material called Stairstep Retirement. Pick your own golden years. If you've ever felt like the standard advice, just putting your head down and grinding away until you're 65, isn't quite cutting it for you, well, you're in exactly the right place. We are going to explore a significantly better way to plan our work-life balance.
So let's start with a really heavy question that has probably crossed your mind at some point. Must we trade our youth for a golden retirement? I mean, we hear so much about burnout these days, right? It often feels like society is asking us to sacrifice our absolute healthiest, most energetic years, our 20s, 30s, and 40s, just for the promise of finally catching our breath when we hit our late 60s. But is trading away our prime literally the only option we have? Let's find out.
Section 1, the standard retirement trap, and the two extremes of modern work life.
Whenever we start planning our careers, we're usually presented with this incredibly rigid binary choice. The first option is traditional retirement. You already know the drill here, grinding 40-plus hours a week from your 20s all the way into your 60s. You just rely on your salary, your benefits, and really slow, steady investing until you finally stop. Then, on the totally opposite extreme, we have FIRE. That stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. On this path, you're sprinting to retirement in your 30s or 40s by saving massive chunks of your income, which, let's be honest, usually means extreme budgeting and avoiding avocado toast at all costs.
But, well, both of these extremes have a major catch. The traditional path consumes your absolute healthiest years sitting at work, and it offers pretty much zero flexibility for young parents or really anyone wanting to actually enjoy their prime. But then again, FIRE isn't exactly a perfect escape hatch either. It requires such intense frugality that burnout is almost guaranteed. Plus, trying to fund a 40-year retirement leaves you highly exposed to long-term market risks. Honestly, neither of these perfectly suits someone who just values their family, health, and sanity right now in the present moment.
Section 2. Evaluating alternative paths as we search for a middle ground.
Okay, so we clearly need something softer and a lot more flexible than a total grind or a total sprint. Enter a concept known as coast FIRE. The basic idea here is actually pretty simple. You save and invest aggressively early on, you let compound interest do all the heavy lifting in the background, and then you just coast into lower stress or lower paying work during midlife without needing to invest another dime. Basically, you front load all your savings and then totally take your foot off the gas.
There is a catch, though. Coast FIRE still front loads immense pressure and the absolute hardest work right into your 20s and early 30s. It demands intense early discipline. And if life throws a curveball, say you have kids, face unexpected medical bills, or experience a layoff, that crucial coast phase can be completely delayed or derailed before you even get there. So it's better, but it's still incredibly rigid. Section 3. Enter Stairstep Retirement and reclaiming your 30s and 40s. Now here is the real breakthrough. Stairstep Retirement is a true middle path. It uses intentional steps up and down in your work hours so you can prioritize free time in midlife, all while still reaching financial independence around a traditional age. I want you to notice the wording there, intentional steps up and down. It is a highly adjustable, part-time strategy designed specifically to let you enjoy more of your youth without completely abandoning your long-term financial security. You don't have to choose between today and tomorrow. Just picture your career happening in stages. At 25, you're putting in a standard 40-hour week. You're building your career, starting your investments, doing the normal thing. But fast forward to 40, smack in the middle of your prime family or health years. Here, you intentionally step down to 20 hours a week. You are actively buying back your time when you actually need it the most. Then, later on at 55, when perhaps the kids are grown and your earning power is at its absolute peak, you step back up to 40 hours to top off those savings right before a traditional retirement.
Let's actually map this out on a timeline to make it concrete. In your 20s, you start full-time to build steady investments and get that compounding started early. Then, in your 30s and 40s, you intentionally step down your work hours for life flexibility. This is the crucial part where you get to enjoy your youth. Once you hit your 50s, you step back up to full-time to top off your savings. And finally, in your 60s, you step down again for traditional retirement. It's not some massive cliff you jump off of, it's a staircase you carefully navigate over time.
There's this fantastic quote from the source material that completely flips the script on all of this. It says, "You're not trying to stop working forever at 35. You're trying to rebalance work and life at each stage." That is the magic right there.
You're trading the massive, crushing pressure of trying to never work again for the highly achievable, realistic goal of finding balance at whatever stage of life you are currently in.
Section 4. Making the strategy work. Creating a realistic path to free time.
The absolute genius of this stair-step approach is that it's the ultimate hybrid. It brilliantly cherry-picks the best elements from every single framework we've looked at today. Think about it. It keeps the steady, long-term compounding of the traditional path, it captures that deep obsession with personal freedom from the FIRE movement, and it delivers all the midlife flexibility of Coast FIRE, but crucially without demanding that you save an absolute fortune by the time you're 30.
So how do we actually pull this off in the real world? It mostly comes down to practical workplace negotiation. You don't quit your career entirely, you just change the terms of the deal. You negotiate part-time hours, you take more unpaid PTO, or maybe you intentionally shift to a lower stress role within your current industry. The point is, you preserve your skills, your resume, and your professional network, but the job finally serves your life rather than the other way around.
Which brings us to a really crucial question I want to leave you with today. Which path actually aligns with your personal risk tolerance and your vision for your best years? I want you to think deeply about it. Are you naturally a traditional grinder? Are you sprinting for FIRE? Or does the flexibility of the stair-step approach feel like that breath of fresh air you've been looking for? Take a close look at your own timeline, evaluate your goals, and realize that you absolutely do not have to follow the default path. You can actually design a life that lets you enjoy your golden years while you're still young enough to make the absolute most of them. Thanks for exploring this explainer with me today, and keep questioning that default path.